Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. It is the 2nd of June and I know that because it's the last Sunday in half term. We have had a lovely week. It was really quiet for the first half, which was really nice, and then we've had guests with us, my best friend and her boys, for the last 3 or 4 days. So we've been fishing, we've been to the cinema, we've been down to the town to the fishing shop. They're big into fishing at the moment, so we went fishing down to one of the local lakes and it was quite funny. It's a good sized lake, but there's sort of like a little dog leg where it's probably sort of 40-50 feet across, and they like fishing for carp on carp rods, so with floats and weights and things like that. And Ness is used to fly fishing, so she had a go with one of their carp rods, except she was casting it like she'd cast her fly rod, and she managed to get it completely across the other side of the lake, so much so that Elliot had to run round and retrieve his hook and his weight from the other side of the lake. She kind of understood the assignment a bit too well there, which was quite interesting. I've eaten way too much ice cream. This time last year my mum bought us a Ninja Creamy, which is the most fantastic thing in the world ever, and of course over the winter we've not had quite so much, but I decided to get it out and put a load of tubs of ice cream in the freezer, ready for the boys coming, and so I've eaten quite a lot of ice cream. And there was a moment actually where me and my best mate Lindsay were actually sat in the kitchen with the door shut eating ice cream quickly so that the boys wouldn't see that we were actually eating ice cream before our tea. But never mind, that's not the point. That is not the point. I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who have purchased my 2 most recent designs, the Little Blue Swoop and also Elizabeth's Bird. Lots and lots of you have bought both of them, and there is still a discount on until the end of the 2nd of June, which is today. So if you want them, grab them quickly, where any 2 charts, it doesn't have to be these 2, any 2 charts gets you a 10% discount in the shop. So thank you for those of you who've bought them. And also another big thank you to Contented Needleworker Kim, who has her own FlossTube channel and also her own YouTube channel. No, they're both the same thing, her own Instagram. And if you like stitching birds and you don't watch Kim, you need to, because she's been stitching Elizabeth's bird and she's been showing her progress. So undoubtedly some of the sales have come through her followers as well. So thank you very much to those. Right, what have I got today? I have got a lot to show you. I've got my stitching that I've been doing. I've been doing quite well with the stitching. I've got a new sampler to show you. Yes. One of those things, hadn't planned on buying anymore. This popped up, too good to be true, grabbed it. I have got the Teresa Kogut Patreon charts to show you. I've got a tiny little bit of haul, and I've also got, excuse me for reaching over, this is my box of shame, things that need finishing. So I thought I'd show you through this because I really enjoyed watching Jen Lee when she went through all the things that she's got that need finishing, and I really enjoyed it. So I've got those to show you. So let's have a look and see what I have been stitching. I'm still working on my Norfolk. At one point I thought I might finish her or might release her without completely finishing her, and then I got a bit of a spurt on, and now I'm not far off. I'm on to the over 1. Now that doesn't mean I finished the rest of it, but it means I'm close enough that I have to put my big girl pants on and actually start doing the over 1, because if I leave it all to the end, you folks will never see it. So I haven't ironed anything today, unfortunately, but this is where I am. So what have I done? I've worked, hang on, right, let me give you another show over this side where it's not gonna ghost out too much. What have I done? I have put in a lot down in this bottom. You thought I'd be used to this piece of fabric by now, but I'm not. This bottom section here, so I put the other one of those fruit baskets in. I've put in her name, Susan Steele, and then it says August, and it's going to say 1817 in there when I get around to it. I have put in those 2 little strawberries there. I have put in that fruit basket up here, and I have also put in a little bit more on the border. So every time I stitch on this now, I have to do a thread on the border, and I have to do a thread's worth of over 1, which hopefully means that I won't have it all left to do at the last knock-ins. So that's the plan anyway. A thread of over 1 and a thread of the border. Zip these up, otherwise I'll lose everything. Right, what else have I stitched on? I have stitched on my stitch alongs. Now this one is the Love Poppet stitch along, and this is called Dreaming of Summer. Now I believe that the stitch along is actually closed now. Certainly for the kits. I don't know whether the PDF is closed. Can I see that? Not sure. Go along on their website. You might still be able to get the PDF, but you certainly can't get the kits anymore. So this is where I am. I'm stitching this on a piece of green fabric by West Green Loft Yarns. It's a 32 count, and it's kind of like a minty green. And we had this part last week, and it has got, you can see the white on it better in person. So I had that finished last week, and then we've now got a house underneath. So this is looking amazing now. So I've got the bottom set of windows to do down here, and there's a little bit of flower work on the bottom as well. Some people have already finished stitching this. I think it came out on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, and some people have already finished it. So looking good. I've got one slight personalisation on it. I went back to put in the stitching up here, and I realised that this needed to be 1 taller. So instead of pulling it out and making it 1 taller, I just made this bit over here 1 taller. So it's slightly different. It doesn't affect the position of the stitching. It just literally affects what's within, where am I? Within that bit. So if it's not going to affect anything else, I'm going to leave it. And there we go. I did have more of the house done, but I had to pull out some of the house because I'd missed a row somewhere on the house, which was quite interesting because I was just talking to somebody on the Facebook group who had missed a row, and she'd said, oh, she was probably going to leave it. And I said, oh, just be careful. There are other things that fit into the house. So it might not be that they could be a row shorter. And then I realised I'd missed a row on my house. So it was very fortuitous actually that I saw her comment, because it made me look at mine a bit closer. I hadn't missed the same row, but I had missed a different row. So that's where I am on that one. And thank you very much to Claire, who had gifted me the threads and the fabric for that one, even though I'm saving the fabric for something else. And the other stitch along that I'm doing actually caught me a bit by surprise, because I didn't think that there was going to be another release this week. I thought it was a 2-week one, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at my calendar and actually put the release dates in my stitching book. So this is the Deadly Aquarium by Lola. So this is where we've got to now. We had this last week, which was the eel, and we've got this week. So what we have got is the porcupine puffer and bull kelp. So there's the porcupine puffer and there is the bull kelp. And that's what I really love about this. I love the fact that you get a little bit of information. She did exactly the same thing with the greenhouse stitch along too. So we had in the frame, the information we had was about the western gull, not to be called a seagull, and common eelgrass. So you get some information about each of those. And then in the first exhibit, we had a green moray eel. And you can, I think, print off, and I think this would be quite fun to do once it's finished, to put on the back of the frame or to put in a little pocket on the back of the frame, all the information about all the different exhibits. So, I can't remember if I showed you or not now. This is where I am. I haven't quite finished the first exhibit because I'm missing a yellow. And there's a little bit to do in the skull, but I've started the second one. I've still got my frame to finish. I haven't found time to finish that yet, but I'm loving this stitch along. And then the other thing I have been stitching on, I've nearly finished, but I do need to order another thread, which is why I stopped. I've only got that much left of a sulky, what is it, 27, no, that's not even the right number, 1271. Just check for yourself because I clearly can't manage 4 numbers today. And I started this ages ago. I actually started this at the Floss Friends retreat that I went to last summer, up in Sheffield, Rotherham, somewhere up there. And it was this one, Lucy Beam's Love in Stitches, Disturbed Women. And I'd started it and I'd gone wrong somewhere. And so I'd put it down in disgust because it's not difficult. And so I sort of put it down in disgust with myself. And then when I picked it up and started stitching it, I just started stitching it. And I didn't even really look for my mistake. And I was like, well, I can't find it. I can't find it. And then it just carried on. So all I had when I was doing before was I had EVAL and then 4 and a bit of the top border. So this is on a 32 count that I dyed myself, to sort of try and match what was the called for, which was a Picture This Plus, I think. 40 count, oh no, 40 count Witch's Brew by Lappin Loops on Etsy, which I think is her daughter. So I got on quite well with the letters. Once I kind of got over myself and just carried on stitching, it worked out fine. So I've got the top border to do. I've got about 4 stitches in there to do. Quite why I'd left those, I don't know. And then I've got to put ward B and then the bottom border. And I had intended to frame this, but if I'm honest, it's come out larger than I kind of thought it would. So my idea for this actually is to turn it into a stitching mat to take to retreats and things like that. I think it's very appropriate for that. So yeah, I might turn it into a stitching mat. Just need to find some nice fabric. I would say that purples and greens aren't necessarily my colours, so I need to find a fabric which isn't just purples and greens, but that goes with this and the kind of Art Deco feel of the writing. So that's the plan anyway. But yeah, I converted that to sulky and it's been very, very handy. Just stitching of an evening, sitting chatting with my best mate. Down at the lake we had a little bit of a chance to just kind of sit while they were all fishing, and that was a good stitch for there as well. So excellent. Right, let me just do, before I move on, let me just do the freebie before I forget. And the freebie this week is called Floral Pin Keep by From the Heart Needleart by Wendy. And it's a really, really lovely little stitch. And I'm not sure I would necessarily have picked it from the chart, but the picture, and I'll put a picture of it there, was beautiful. So it's just a simple alphabet with a little floral vine going up the side. But I'll put the link down for this one. Could be a really words. Really, really nice little small or something like that, just for a little needle book or a little doodad or whatever you want to do with it. So exciting. New sampler. Now I have absolutely no business buying any more samplers at the moment because the van is in the garage again. In this van, we've not been happy bedfellows really, and this will be the last time it's in the garage because it's gone. I'm selling it. As soon as it's back out the garage, I'm selling it. I'm not even giving it a grace period. It's going. So I have no business buying any more samplers, but this was just too good to be true. And it was on Facebook Marketplace, and you know, with Facebook Marketplace you get like about 3 or 4 items that are actually within your area, and then really quickly it just goes on to things that are hundreds of miles away. So this one was in Banbury. Now Banbury is about 25 miles away from my mum. So I messaged my mum in all of a sort of a fluster. I said, would you go and get it for me? Would you go and get it? Yeah. So I messaged the woman. I said, is it still available? Yes. Yeah. And this woman must have thought I was totally batty because I kept messaging her and whatever else. And she's like, why don't you just come look at it? I said, no, I can't. I'm too far away. But my mum's coming. My mum will come and get them. So mum went to get it. And yeah, on the Sunday morning. So I saw it on the Saturday night and mum went to get it on the Sunday morning. And yeah, it was just too brilliant, So I have got a little video of this sampler of what it looked like, but you can see this is the frame that it came in. I've already had it out of the frame. It came in a velvet mounted frame, which I'm not that mad at, I have to say. But it came with this really weird glass, which is almost like an early form of museum glass. Now this glass is absolutely filthy, and you can actually work out once you know what the sampler looks like, you can actually see the markings of the stitching on the glass. But this is actually almost like it's not a completely clear glass. So when it arrived, I was very, very quick to try and get the back of the frame off, just to make sure it was stitching and not print, because my friend Lindsay brought it up with me, or with her. So I have got a little video, as I said, of taking it out the frame, which I'll put on the end. And I was so excited because it's just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Let me show you what it looks like. Go, and here it is. How cute is that? So you've got almost like a honeysuckle type border. Look at those bee skeps at the top. Obviously the deer and the little satin stitching is amazing, but those bee skeps at the top. Now it says CW 1832 on the top there, with these big kind of pots and this rather majestic looking deer. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I've posted something from the back of this one. So this is what was on the back. And it says on it, Mrs. E. Whitehouse, 39 Roughton Road, near Shrewsbury Park, Plumstead Common, London, SE 18. July 1940. So this woman has clearly had this sampler reframed as a point of urgency in 1940, when the Luftwaffe were really doing a good job of trying to level London. But no, her pressing thing was to get this sampler reframed. And I think actually she may have only had a partial reframe. Did I leave the glass out of that? Because in the back of the sampler is a copy of the Church Times from 1908. So that's what I posted some of the shots of on my Instagram. So I think this is just absolutely amazing. It was too good to miss. Stitched on a reasonably fine count. If I had to sort of have a guesstimate, I would say it's about a 36 count, something like that. Lovely, lovely colours. Just love that deer. And what's great about it is the border. I love this satin stitching. Do you know what's even better about it? I'll tell you what's even better. There's a pair. I was so chuffed. There's a pair. Let me show you the other one. So the other one, we've got the deer, but we've also got these, so the same border. In fact, let me just take that one off the back there, because I have taken that off completely. So same border. This time we've got some free embroidered flowers. We've got a flower basket, got some smaller flowers, and we've got this beautiful deer. Now this one says CW 1831, and this one, let's try and get them both in, whoops, is CW 1832. Both of them were in those red frames. They were both reframed in 1940. But interestingly, one has 29 Roten Road on the back, the other one has 39 Roten Road. It was actually 39 Roten Road, I found them. But these were, I would go so far as to say, inexpensive, hence why there was a somewhat of an urgency to my begging down the phone from my mum to go and get them for me. Now, who do I think stitched them? That is a very good question. So the lady who put them in for framing, and I'll show you this one because this is the one that's unattached, was Mrs. E. Whitehouse. Now, Mrs. E. Whitehouse is Gladys Edith Whitehouse, who was Gladys Edith Muddle. And I've looked into her family because her family is much easier to find. And there is not a there's not a W anywhere in any of her family at the right time. So I think CW was potentially the husband's grandmother or great-grandmother. Now the difficulty is both Edith and her husband, who was called Edward, were born in India. Now Edward was, let me get this right, stationed, or no, he was born in India, sorry, but he ended up working in a gun carriage armoury, a place making gun carriages. And then he, according to the 1939 register, he didn't fight in the Second World War, even though he would have been eligible. He was born in 1912, I think, because he had TB. So he was born in India. I'm gonna have to write the name of the place along the board, teaching, along the bottom, because I can't quite remember it. Jabbalore? Something like that. But I can't find his family. And I've asked Ruthie from Crow's Feet Stitching, who is a super sleuth, to see if she can find a little bit more for me. Because as I said, I don't think it was Edith's family, because they're Muddles, Murphys, all their surnames seem to begin with M. So I think it was the husband's family. But it was obviously very important to them to get these things reframed, as I said, at the well, not quite the height of the war, but certainly during the war, in some very, very tricky times for that area of London. These were being reframed. Now, I put some information up from this because there are some fabulous adverts and things in here. Now, when I do chart these up and when I make the charts for these, I'm going to put some of this information in because it's just so interesting. My friend Lindsay, as I said, once I'd opened the back of this one, she was just sat there reading this, you can buy old false teeth. We give the highest possible prices for the above. Offers made, and if not accepted, teeth returned. Old artificial teeth bought. Dr. Paget pays the highest prices. Call or post. Can't read that one. Oh, immediate cash. Artificial teeth bought. We strongly advise everyone to send us any artificial teeth they might have for disposal. We make the most liberal offers and are the largest firm of dental merchants in the world. So there's those. There's a big advert. As I said, this is all about, this is the Church Times. So there's a big advert here about where you should get the tincture Francisca, which is not intended to appeal to those who are content with cheap wine of inferior quality, but is offered as a perfect altar wine, which I think is brilliant. What else did we find on here? Magic lanterns and bioscopes. There's a whole page of job adverts. There's a whole page of people who want to get lodgers. There's a page of people who are looking to give homes to children. Interesting. So I will be copying some of those to go into the chart when I get round to charting it. But I couldn't believe there was a pair stitched by the same person, and I actually really can't wait to have them hanging as a pair. I think they'd be brilliant. Either side of a fireplace, either side of a bookcase, anything. Brilliant. Happy. It doesn't take that much to keep me happy. A few samplers here and there, you know, all good. Right, what else have I got to show you? I am going to show you Teresa Kogat's offerings for this month because they are fabulous. Now, where did I put them? Here they are. Now, the reason I'm going to show you them is because they are patriotic ones, which Teresa loves designing, but not necessarily going to apply to us here in the UK. But I think some of these designs are really fabulous. So you'll have to forgive my printer, because my printer quite often gets to the page, the front page of a chart, and just goes, no, that's it, I've had enough. So you have to forgive the bit there. So this was the first one. This is Betsy's Horse. So this is for tiers 2, 3 and 4. Now, whilst I wouldn't necessarily stitch this with all the American flag on the top, side saddle rider and horse, I love that. I could change the colours, keep her with her top hat on. Beautiful. Really lovely. Then this one is Peace and Patriotism. This I think was tier 3 and 4. Yep. So you've got fabulous birds, deer. There's a couple of sort of parts that are clearly American, but you could change those to the Union Jack, or you could just stitch little smalls from it. Really nice. Lovely colours. And then this one is tier 4. Printer must have been more happy with this one because it's done the whole thing. This is called Patriotic Blooms, and it says at the bottom, I wish all to be free. Which again, not necessarily something that I would put there, but certainly love that. Right, let's have a little look in my box of shame. I used to be really good at finishing things and making things, and it's just totally got away with me the last probably 12 months, I would say. I haven't finished as many things in the last 12 months, unless it's just simple framing. So yeah, that's something that I really need to get my head around. So let's have a look and see. Now, I also know for a fact that not everything is in here. There are lots of things on sort of single pieces of fabric which are still in bags because there's another one of the series to stitch. So yeah, not everything's in here either. Right, so firstly, let's see, I'm going to try and balance this on my knee. I've got a little Mill Hill Scotty dog. This was called, just Scotty. It's designed to be a magnet, but I will make it into a little ornament. So I've cut him out, he just needs finishing. I have also got several on this one piece. So this was the PA Dutch Drum, something like that, by Brenda Gervais with her needle and thread. And this one is a heartstring samplery, My Scissors, My Rules. They need to be finished. Then Cherry Hill Stitchery, I believe. It's going to test my memory. Bunny Food, Carrot Patch, and this one, which started it off, which was from the West Green Loft Yarns Spring Box, which is called Bunnies Love Carrots. So this one came with the box, and then I bought the other two so that I could make a set out of them. I was just thinking my nose looks particularly red today. Caught the sun fishing. Fabulous. This is a little strawberry that I need to finish when I do my strawberry finishing for the first 2 weeks in July, which is Wimbledon, and my strawberry stitching. Lovely. That is with our needle and thread as well, I think. Oh, I love this one. This is by Rivaris, and it's called Savio E. Now, let me just put this up because I can't balance and hold up at the same time. I stitched this in January. I think actually December, between Christmas and New Year, and it goes on a spool, and I'm not sure you can buy the chart without getting the spool kit at the moment. I adored stitching that. So that's ready to be finished. Some of these you'll recognise more recently than others. This is on a piece of 36 count vintage country mocha. This is called Stitch in London. It was a design by Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery for Stitch in London 2023, and I think it will be available at some point in the future, obviously without the Stitch in London on the bottom. Flossie Sews and Grows is stitching that at the moment. This, again, is another Modern Folk Embroidery one. It's the Modern Folk Embroidery and Evertote's Roxy Floss Co. collaboration for their calendar, advent calendar from December. 36 count, or was it 32 count? 32 count, I think, actually. And finished that in December. Now we're going back a little bit now. This is a Owl Forest embroidery, which I've never finished, or never fully finished, mainly because I don't really know what to do with it. I enjoyed stitching it, but I don't know what to do with it. We shall see. A lot of these things might get made into bags, I think. Now this is a blast from the past. This is a Fox and Rabbit stitch along from a very long time ago, and it's technically got another border with a load of butterflies on it, but I couldn't bring myself to do all those butterflies. I was going to put an alphabet around the outside, and then I changed my mind and I just pulled it out and finished it as it is. It's stitched on 32 count mint splash. I don't know if you can see, it's got a bit of the splash to it. That was a whip for quite a long time because I didn't know what to do with it. I still don't really know, although I've got an idea. This is Needle and Flax by Teresa Koga on a lovely big piece of linen, which I need to reclaim. But again, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so I wanted to leave plenty of space. I can't remember if I used the called for or similar to. Now I stitched this is a 36 count, but I stitched it using 2 strands, mainly because I forgot it was a 36 count and thought it was a 32 count. So usually I'd only do 1 on 36 count. Now, I'm not really sure. Maybe a Lizzie Kate. Just a little monochrome piece on a bright piece of green fabric. Now this is actually a freebie from one of the oh, what do you call those things? Facebook groups. That really wasn't difficult, was it? It just says sampler maker on it, and it's got a little vine pattern. So beautiful. This is another Teresa Kogut one, and this is a piece of 30 count cappuccino, I think, Weeks Dye Works cappuccino. I think it's something like Stitcher's Garden. What does it say there? A Stitcher's Garden. Yeah, so love, love, love. This is Tiny Modernist, I think. And this is, oh, got a dangling thread. This is a chart that I can't remember. It was a stitch along 2 or 3 years ago. And it's a piece of X-Dew design fabric called no, can't remember. I can't remember on that one, sorry. This is by Colleen, Rebel Stitcher. And again, I can't remember the name of the chart on that one. This is a piece of fabric that I dyed myself. And then I decided I preferred the side which just had the splotches on it. But I just love the little pumpkins and the little skulls. There we go. This is, I can never remember with his Tiny Modernist or the other lot, Clouds Factory. But it's a Halloween, it's called Halloween Parade. And it's a little banner. This was a stitch along as well. And I'm stitching on a piece of 32 count fabric that I hand dyed a long time ago. Got a lot of work to do, haven't I? This is Cross Stitch Collector by The Primitive Hare, which came out as a market piece 2 or 3 years ago, but I think you can get it now. This is one of the Plum Street Samplers salt box houses that's got the white frame that makes it look a bit like a Polaroid. But I was going to do the whole set on a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus Heroic, and I didn't like the 32 count Picture This Plus. It was too tight for 2 strands, but just wasn't enough for 1 strand. So I just finished off the one that I was doing, and then I'll have another go at the full set of houses at some point, because I do like them. This is finished and in a frame, but not fully finished. I'm not even sure I can remember who that's by. Nope, can't remember that one, sorry. If anyone knows that one, please let me know. I could work it out by looking back through my my records, but I can't off the top of my head think whose that one is. This is the Cricket Collection, Autumn. I love stitching this. I stitched it in about 7 days. It's beautiful. I'm working on winter, and I think I might use that bright green fabric that I've got my Love Poppet stitch along on for either spring or summer. So, because they're all on 32 count. So they'll all be a similar size anyway. This is by the Blue Flower. This is also called Halloween Parade. I love this one. It's on a piece of fabric that I hand dyed. And that one will get framed. I just love that. Always love that. The Blue Flower has to be one of my favourite designers, but it's one of the ones that I seem to have the least finished pieces for, which is bizarre. This is they're on Etsy. I'll have to try and look that one up. I can picture the design, like logo, but I can't think what they're called. And that's stitched on a piece of 32 count that I hand dyed, and I've got a feeling that's sulky threads. Yeah, it is. And I was going to make like a little scissor holder or something with that. That was the plan anyway. Little finish from Patchwork Rabbit. I've got a feeling, was it a Manny Didonna? No, it wasn't. It was a Rebel Stitcher. It's Colleen, Rebel Stitcher. She did the Halloween countdown box, and that was her design from there. This is a piece of 40 count. Picture this plus something, or it could be Old Gold by Fibre on a Whim, actually. Lovely. Ooh, what have we got in here? Pantini. So I have finished all of these, and I've got the buttons there too. Whoops, they've just disappeared down the back. There we go. Ooh, I've got 2 sets of buttons in there. I've got 2 sets of buttons in there because Paola sent me 2 sets of buttons with my charts so that I could give them away once I've finished making them up. So I really should get on and do it. So this is all of them on here. Okay, Born to Spook, and obviously needs a couple of buttons. Trick or Treat obviously needs a couple of buttons, and Knock Knock. And that is a piece of Zweigart, but other than that, I can't tell you. 32 count. Getting to the bottom. It's not quite as many as I thought. This is the 2023 Collector's Heart, and it was stitched with all the called for because it came with everything. So this is leather bound by Cottage Garden Threads, and this is my finish. I loved stitching this one, just loved it. That's where they went. I put my templates for ovals. Sometimes I'm almost too organised for myself because I don't expect myself to be organised. So this is my Stacey Nash. That is my parsnip pin keep or parsnip needle book. What's it called? Is that in here? No. It's either the parsnip needle book or the carrot needle book. I can't remember which one it is. And then I've got the back and the front of another needle book, which is this chart here. And there's actually 4 of them to stitch, and you make 1 needle book. But I'm going to stitch 4 of them and make 2 needle books because I think they're too nice to be on the inside. I've even got the templates in there. What else have we got in here? A drawn thread. Welcome Summer. There we go. Love stitching those. And I have also got Welcome Autumn. So I've only got Welcome Winter, and I've got the Welcome Christmas one to do as well. Got those from Chris at the Nimble Thimble, and they come with all the dinky dies. This is another Teresa Koga, which was a Patreon, but I think it might have been released now, maybe, or will be this time, this Halloween maybe. Love that. That was a sulky conversion as well. And the fabric is 36 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim. This is, oh gosh, a hedgehog sampler by, oh, I have to put the name across the bottom. It's an out of print chart, but you can get them from 1884 Stitchery. It's one of the companies that McKenna's got the PDFs for. So love that. And then I've got two others. This is the St. Ives sampler by Little Robin Designs, and it is actually this colour, and I stitched that. Can't remember what with or what on. And then lastly in here I've got another Puntini. I've got April finished, which goes on a spool that I've got. Tiny little bit of haul. Tiny little bit of haul. I was watching, whoops, don't fall. I was watching Ros Clark Craft, and she mentioned some threads. She did a really lovely bit about silk threads, and she was saying that she had bought some silk threads by PaintBox Threads. Now I've wanted to try some PaintBox Threads for ages, and the boxes that I've wanted to try have always been out of stock, and so I thought I'll go and have another quick look, and I bought this. So this is the set that I bought, and I can't wait to use them. How beautiful are those? The set I've got is called Shimmering Spectrums, and they are all quite highly variegated compared to their sort of standard ones, if you like. They're not hugely variegated compared to some others, but compared to their standard ones. And they are single strands of silk. You don't have to split them. They are single strands of silk in those beautiful colours. They've got a couple of other boxes there that I would like to get my hands on as well, but they were out of stock, so I went for this one. Lovely. Now, I've also got in my mind that I was supposed to talk to you about something else, and I can't remember what it was. No, that's really annoying. I know it's going to be a case of if I look on my emails, I'll find it. So you might see me back in just 5 minutes. But if not, I'm going to say cheerio and stay classy, Stitchers.